Welcome back to Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined this week by RJ. RJ, how are you today?
I got to spend the last hour and a half of my workday waiting for my computer to update because it said the update would take 5 minutes, and it took an hour and a half, and it still wasn't done when I was done with my workday. So we'll log on tomorrow and see if the computer has been updated.
Windows 10 or Windows 11?
Windows 11.
And we're joined as always by Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie YouTube channel. Lonnie, how are you today?
I won't say as always because I have missed a couple of episodes for
You're in
various
spirit.
reasons. Yeah, the job that pays for my roof had to deprioritize the episode on like work travel.
Oh, yeah.
But for every chance I can be here, I am always here. You
And
know,
Lonnie also dropped his first members only video for us this past week. So if you're a member,
I
check that out.
I did. I dropped a members only video only for the Stack Your Points channel. It didn't even hit my channel. Completely
Yep.
bypassed it. Yeah, I did that for you guys.
Which is very
And
exciting. And we have two in 6 to 12 months. We have two surprise videos of predictions of Lonnie's that he didn't actually think I was going to put up. But guess what? I am an attentive editor, and those got put up.
they got put up. I was surprised. So now I am fully accountable. So when I get comments and I'm like, why am I getting these comments? I'll
Mhm.
remember.
Yep.
I made my prediction, and someone's going to either be let's do it like this. If I'm right, no one's going to say anything because we're Americans and that's what we do. But if I'm wrong, I won't hear the end of
Yep. That's the internet.
Yep.
it.
Yep. I think that's the internet globally. Uh, Also, Lonnie, today's members video on your channel, fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a good one. Hop on
I like
over to
it.
Call Me Lonnie. You can become a member over there if you want to see it. We're not going to get into the weeds about it because then I'm taking away from my members, and I don't want to do that.
If you
Yep.
go to stackyourpoints.com, you can actually get links to Matt and Lonnie's show, join our Discord, and check out membership for Stack Your Points. So, one-stop shop for all of the things.
Now that we've done our internal ad read, all right, we'll jump into topics. And Lonnie, your topic for the week.
Oh, I get to go first this week. That's awesome. So this week for me, we're in this quote unquote credit card recession where literally every card and its mama are starting to refresh or change things around in one way, shape, or form. So we're seeing cards switch ways in which you earn points, and of course, you burn points. Um, i.e., bonus categories are changing, like city. Did I just do it? Did I trigger you? I didn't trigger
No.
you, did I? Okay, good.
Okay.
And then, of course, how you burn them, like what Chase in the with just did with the Sapphire Reserve. Um, do you think that points and point redemptions will become harder or less relevant in the future for standard redemption, such as booking your hotel or your flight, or for vacation packages or bundles, which of course are also available in travel portals more often now, where you can just book entire packages? Do you think that's going to become harder or less relevant in lieu of select preferred card partners? Going back to Chase again, points boost, United, Marriott, easily found in there. But are you going to get that same type of like redemption? Are you going to get that same type of relevancy if you're outside of Chase's travel portal within that ecosystem and try to go to a partner that's not one of their preferred partners? I would love to hear your thoughts on the speculation station, if you will, on where this might be going. RJ, I'm going to start with you first.
So, I actually don't think for people, I'll say people like me who travel often solo and tend to stick with more standard rooms, that it's going to be a problem. I actually think that the inventory might go up a little bit. I think that is going to be as easy or hard as it's ever been. Now, do I think people who want higher tier rooms or have to book multiple rooms at a time or have certain predications of what they want might have more difficulty, yes. Like if you're somebody who cares super much about cent per point, I think that might become more difficult. I think you're somebody who, do I have 50,000 points? Do I want to spend 50,000 points here or do I want to spend X number of dollars? I would like to spend no money. Like I would like to physically take no money out of my wallet. I would just want to spend the 50,000 points. I think that's going to be as easy or hard as it ever was. And I'm not saying that cent per point doesn't matter. I'm not saying that I don't look at the cash price versus the points price. I'm just saying that I don't have that, 1.25 in my head or 1.33 in my head when I do it. I look at the two numbers and then I pick the one I want. So it's not that hard and fast math rule. And I think people like me who are in it more for the perks and the travel experience and the things like that, and cent per point matters less. And those sort of very specific things matter a little bit less on their sort of the 10 things that care and how you rank that in order. I don't think it's going to change. And to be honest, I think most people who are in the credit card game, but not like obsessive about the credit card game, and I use obsessive in not a pejorative way, sort of in a technical way of how they go about it. I don't think it's I don't think they're going to notice until we get to a point where the platinum doesn't have any direct ways to book and the CSR doesn't have any direct ways to book and the Venture X you can't get 2x if you book direct. Like until cards stop letting you book direct and getting elevated rates, I don't think it's going to go away. I think it might change what cards people use. I don't think it's going to go away. So it'll be interesting to see how it works. But I don't think for most people it's going to change all that much unless you're very, very heavy into, I am only going to do this redemption if I get a cent per point that is above this number I have already in my head before I even look at anything else. And that's a valid way to do it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I think it will be much harder for you specifically versus people who are a little more relaxed on cent per point and in it for different reasons.
Matt, what's your 2 cents?
So I think standard redemption, the Hyatt award chart, the basic number of points for your premium economy seat, all of that is going to stay relatively the same. I think, and to touch on your members only video a little bit, I do think there's going to start being a bit of a chase and a bit of a fight going on the travel portal side and starting to bundle as much value as you can in individual travel portals. And I don't just mean the Chase travel portal, the City travel portal, Capital One, American Express. I'm talking like JetBlue vacations. I'm talking Delta vacations and United Airlines and American Airlines, where you're going to package and they might start dialing and changing the numbers a little bit to provide you a little bit more value so that you come into their ecosystem where you're going to get higher rates of return by packaging your flight, your hotel, and your rental through JetBlue Vacations. Maybe they can arrange something with the hotel where, yes, it's a third party booking, but you're going to get your night, you're going to get your status reflected, you're going to get that extra little bit that's going to get you to commit to come over to them, whether it's JetBlue or United or whoever. You're going to see the credit card companies continue to do the same thing. You've got FHR and the Edit already letting you get your status reflected, get your night, get your points, have whatever spend you have on property also be reflected in your point earning with the property. You could start seeing the ecosystems starting to build out your own packages and your own point return. Point boost could be a thing where, oh yeah, you're going to get 2 cents per point doing this with our preferred partners. But if you let Chase build your entire itinerary for you, we'll get you 4 cents per point. American Express could turn around and do the same thing. Go through American Express Travel Concierge. You usually get like a 1.5% per point guarantee through us. come through our concierge service, let us handle everything for you. We'll guarantee you 5 cents per point. Chase could do the same. City could do the same thing. Capital One could do the same thing. Um, extra other travel agencies could try to start getting in on One Key and Expedia. You could see Booking try and get into things with a loyalty program from them. You could see Grove come in and say, "Hey, we'll bundle the flight, we'll do the hotel, and if they get into rental cars, go from there." Even the rental car companies could try and get in on it. Like you're gonna potentially see a move where it's come to us, declare your fealty to us, and we'll take care of you. And Chase and American Express, I think, can do more with this than others. But if you had something where you went through Chase Travel, like Lonnie, let's say the points boost, doing it on your own is 2 cents per point. Points boost coming through our own hand-picked selections for you based on your travel, we're going to give you 4 cents per point. How often are you going to ask Chase to take care of everything for you?
Almost all the time.
Exactly, because you're going to guarantee that 4 cent per point. If American Express came out over the top and said, "You know what, Chase is doing 4, we're going to give you 5.5," I'm sure you'd ask American Express to take care of you. I could see something like that, where like the standard do it yourself is still going to be what it's going to be, but you could potentially, if they make investments in this, you could see either the banks or the airlines, not so much the hotels. I don't know why. And, not even so much the rental car companies, but like that would be fun on the competition side of things. Just start like being willing to lose some money to gain your loyalty, to get more swipes, to get more of your spend going through them and their preferred method of you spending. I think you could see that. Now, it'd be crazy for Chase to guarantee 4 cents per point through a Chase Travel Concierge or through American Express doing the same thing. 4 cents per point, probably a little crazy, but if you could if you could guarantee 2 cents per point right now, and I still have to do a lot of stuff, but you're willing to do everything and give me a higher return so that I just keep my spend with you, they'll probably look into doing something like that. How successful would it be? I don't know. How many people are going to take advantage of that? I don't know. How likely is it that you're just going to see the standard redemption because not a whole lot of people are in this side of the game? It'll probably still stay the same, but there are people who want everything done for them. That's why travel agencies exist, right? If the credit card companies wanted to start going after travel agencies, or the travel agency portions of airlines wanted to start going after travel agencies, they could do some damage.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with either one of you, but I'm going to take it one step further because you both have mentioned how like the standard redemptions are going to be unimpacted. They're going to be business as usual, if you will.
Yeah.
What happens when that Hilton or that Marriott or whatnot says, wait a sec, we just found out that Amex or Chase or Citi or whoever, Venture or Capital One, that is going to give inflated stuff through their travel portals, and they're willing to pay us to bring people in. So that standard redemption that you have directly with, I'm going to keep using Hilton, just one partner right now. Hilton's like, that's great. We can actually save money if we make our standard redemption higher. So we devalue it or inflate it, whichever term you want to use.
Yeah.
But you get the best value from over here. And we're going to split that cost with X travel portal because they're going to give us a 70-30 split where they got 70. Now we only pay for 30 versus it was 100% on us directly.
I think
That's what I'm afraid of, because as these preferred partners get deeper and deeper in with the banks have to provide value in some way, shape, or form. And like I mentioned last week, you got to follow the money. So if the banks are like, we need Hilton, we need United, we need Marriott, we're willing to help, provide the best redemption or the best room, if you will. Because how many times have you gone to a travel portal and found a room that was available, but then went directly to that brand's website and that room was not available? It happens to me all the time. I see it quite often where I want that room with a room in it. I have to get it through Points Boost now That's the only way. That's the only place it's available. I can't just go book it. I might be able to book it there a couple categories down and get upgraded with Hilton or whatever hotel brand. I know Hilton's not with Chase. Stay with me, fellas. Um, but you see what I'm saying? It's like, but now the room that I want, I have to get through Points Boost. I have to get it through Chase. And Chase is like, we bought that room so that we can book it through our travel portal. And hotel, we will pay 70% of the cost because we're going to recoup so many points back through their travel portal. Where now those standard redemptions start going away. They start getting devalued or price inflated, whichever way you want to look at that, because the hotels now are like, we want to save money and we're going to guarantee booking. And this takes away from us having to like figure out who we're going to upgrade this week because we don't have to. That room's not available. Chase bought it.
I think because there's the Expedias and the Travelocities and the I'm sorry, not hotel, the airlines that have the partnerships with hotels and the banks that have there's almost too many moving parts that I think it might happen to one hotel brand. I don't think it can happen en masse. I think this is such a big and complicated web of interconnectedness that it would be hard for it to happen quickly, at least, all at once. I think I just don't see it happening quickly.
Oh,
Maybe I'm wrong,
I,
but I
I,
don't see it in the next 5 years happening. And I think in the next 5 years, trends are going to change again, right? I don't think it's going to be this way long enough for enough to change for it to actually fully be able to happen. I think the cycles of finance and credit cards are becoming shorter, not longer. And I think this would need a 10-year cycle to fully happen, where I don't think they have 10 years before things change anymore.
I'll give you that. I give you that because I don't agree. I do agree that it would take way too long for this type of transition to fully take effect. And by the time that it took effect, the entire game's going to change. So I agree with you there. Like the amount of time it would take, and then what happens in that amount of time, everything's going to end up changing. So no, I do agree with you there. But do you see this effect? Maybe this doesn't take. Maybe this is not at full scale. Maybe, like you say, with the Expedias and the 3P, whatnot. Maybe on a smaller scale. Like I said, what if it's just one or two hotel brands or one or two airlines? That's one or two of the big four major airlines in the US. That's a good chunk to actually disrupt some things. One or two of the big four hotel brands here in the US. That's a good chunk to disrupt some things where it only could take one. For example, just looking at Chase and Amex. If one of them makes a move, it affects everybody.
Mhm.
It only takes one of them to make a move for it to affect everybody.
I think so. One thing that I think that you're slightly discounting is yes, I think the hotels want to make money, right? Like they are fans of money, but they're also to some extent fans of autonomy. And I think if they connect themselves that much with Chase or Amex, like past where they are now, they run the risk of not being able to steer their own ship. They put so much on Chase or Amex that if there's a sudden loss of cabin pressure, as it were, they're not the one at the joystick trying to pull the plane up. Like they have to rely on Chase or Amex to do it. And I do think a lot of the big brands are adverse to that, if nothing else. Like they have all gone through, like these are companies that are old, right? Capital One is like 21 years old and they're the youngest of the major players. So I think a lot of these companies understand that controlling their own fate is ultimately the most important part of business. Um, so that would be my answer to that part because making money is great, but long-term controlling your own fate is how you make enough money to make it to 100 plus years.
Yeah, I got to give you credit on that one because even though as a business they want to, obviously they're in it to make money, But the bird in the hand is actually better than the two in the bush. And to lose control to a Chase or Amex, or majority control, if you will, to a Chase or Amex is not a good business model. So I will give you credit there. I know it's still a hypothetical, but RJ gets a point. RJ
I
gets a
mean,
point. In the argument, you get it.
but they could still keep that autonomy and pair up with get tighter with the airlines that they're already tight with. You've got Hilton and Delta, you've got Marriott and United.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. I think it'll be harder, though, for an airline than it is for a hotel. And the reason why I say that is because, so first off, don't disagree with you, but a hotel, brick and mortar building, finite amount of space, finite amount of rooms. An
Sure.
airline, you could do the same concept with. You 100%. They could book by X percentage of seats on every airline, except for I don't know how many times you've been at O'Hare Airport and they changed your gate and they changed the plane, which throws all that out of the window.
Yeah. No, I think there's ways that it could be dialed around. I don't
Yeah,
think it would be like, oh, in 6 months you're gonna get like a 6 to 10% return by going through JetBlue vacations or going through United vacations, even though it's gonna be powered by JetBlue at some point. That'll be hilarious. Um,
yeah.
or going through Delta vacations where you do everything through Delta and they handle the flight, they handle the hotel, they handle the rental, they give you the 6 to 10% return.
That does put a wrench in the whole like Delta or United getting completely into bed with Chase or Amex. They have their own thing. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
to some
but
extent, they would have to give some of that up, or at
I
least it would be different.
I don't think with an airline they would necessarily have to give some of it up. So even in my last example of, yeah, I've been standing at the airport plenty of times, and all of a sudden it's another plane came in early, and now they swap planes. So instead of row 8, now you're in row 9 or something of that nature. I've seen that happen a million and one times. That's normal. That's business as usual at any major airport here in the US. But the airlines themselves already do. We only give X amount of percentage as like award booking or award
Yeah.
booking at a certain redemption rate. What happens? I think, well, not even what happens. I think a card brand can easily come in and say, well, you already did 10%. We're going to do another 5%. And then they put that 5% in the travel portal. The airline has nothing to lose because within 30 minutes of closing that gate, they know that those seats are now available. So if you don't show up, now that it's free to just use our upgrade list and continue on. So I think going back to Matt's point, so Matt, you also get a point here. Um, I think it would be feasible for the airlines in that regard, in that particular business model, though.
Certainly fair. We'd have to see what ends up happening with it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And to go to that, like, why do you think points boost is first and business class only? It might already be happening right here in front of us.
Potentially. And we know Amex is going to come out with something similar.
I
I
gotta see what
mean,
they get. I'm gotta see what they do, man.
I think
I'm on
oh,
pins and needles.
I think ultimately we just don't know, right? As
Yeah.
much as we can say, well, this trend might continue or that. If we were to say in 5 years ago, we were to predict trends for 2025, some of the threads we pull are going to be spot on, and some of the threads we pull are dead in 6 months.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's something to watch. I absolutely think it's something to watch. But I don't know. My crystal ball is cracked and in the corner right now, so I sadly can only predict so much of the future.
Look,
That's
I've
fair.
had my strategy for over 20 years and it's worked, and they just start effing everything up.
You still
I
got
just
United.
I just want to get on the plane and get there. Without doing all this, learning all this new stuff and having to use Dunkin' Donuts credits. I just want to get there. And hopefully they got a Dunkin' Donuts when I get there.
I actually have a genetic predisposition to know where every Dunkin' Donuts is in a 5 mile radius of my location at all times.
I can actually tell you where they're at in airports around the world because that's the only place I ever see them.
I live in the land of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. No, everyone from the Northeast knows that there's Dunkin' at least a mile and a half somewhere down the road. RJ, let's go to your topic.
It's important to find a balance between traveling when you have the time and money and traveling simply because we have the opportunity. If you're in the travel game, you understand how to look for opportunity, how to find opportunity, but sometimes that opportunity has a financial cost that maybe we shouldn't pay. So we see a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I got this amazing redemption and I put this $2,000 of extra because they got the redemption on the hotel and they had to buy the flight, or they got it on the flight and had to buy the hotel, but it's on a zero APR card, so I'll pay it off." Okay, but you just did a sign up bonus for another card and you got to pay that one off too. Or you just said you did that with another card like 6 months ago. So, like, how would you suggest, and this is not for the three of us specifically, because we're all, I think, in a little different stage in our lives. We are the old people that yell at clouds, which is fine. Um, but how would you suggest people who are getting in, like they get that little hit, they get those redemptions, and now all of a sudden all they see is the opportunity, and it's super easy to swipe your card, hit that sub, or oh, I'm going to take the 1,500 on the sub and do this great hotel redemption. Just buy a flight. It's fine. It's 1,500 bucks. It's fine. Matt, what is your advice for the youth and the newer people in the game to not seek financial ruin as they dip their toes into the travel game?
One, um, know always whether or not you're using money or points, you should always budget things out. If you have a pool of 50,000 points, stay within your pool of 50,000 points. Don't book to 70,000 points and say, oh, I'll just buy the other 20,000. It's fine. No big deal. Like maybe I'll get a good deal on that. Okay, you might, but those 20,000 points have an intrinsic cost associated with them. Well, they have an explicit cost associated with them. Um, you can't bet on that 20,000 points, and that's money coming out of that's more money coming out of your pocket than you need to, because you need to do the thing past your set budget. If you can make the trip happen, certainly make the trip happen. I'm not going to tell you not to take the trip, but if you have to ask yourself or put yourself in the position of take the trip or take a pretty big hit financially, because yes, I got the redemption of a lifetime on the airline, but like the hotel is going to be $1,800 that I don't necessarily have at the moment. Is it worth doing that to you? Usually we'll say take the trip, but take the trip within your means. Is there a hotel that's $900? If there's not a hotel option at $900, is there a hotel option at $600? Can't just be $1,800 or bust. So as with all things, you have your financial budget, obviously, but you also have your points budget. And we will tend to overvalue our points budget a little bit just because we know how far we can get with our points. And that can also lead to some issues as well, because then you're like, if you tell yourself, oh, well, I have to get 3 cents per point. If I'm not getting 3 cents per point with this particular point, it's not even worth it. And now you're going to pay cash when you could have settled for a 2.5 cent per point redemption or a 1.7. Gosh forbid, God forbid you take the 1.7 instead of the 3.4. Yeah, you're going to use, twice as many points as you usually would, but it's not money. It's less, it's almost no money out of pocket. If your concern is money out of pocket, stay within your points budget to make sure that no money comes out of pocket, or as little money as possible comes out of pocket. With flights, it's at least $5.60 in domestic on domestic taxes. If it's international flights, you got to take your international taxes into account, because most times your points are not going to be able to cover your international taxes. There are airlines that allow it. You're not always flying those airlines. You got to keep that in mind. Your hotels, got to make sure that you are sticking to your points budget on your hotels as well. If you've only got 80,000 Hyatt points, but the vacation requires 240,000 Hyatt points, maybe look to do that vacation in the off season. Maybe look to do that vacation another time if that is the only way that you are going to do that vacation. Now, you should be flexible. You should look into alternatives. The 80,000, can you get closer to 80,000 by doing a different hotel in the ecosystem? No? Okay. What other ecosystems do you have points in? Can you make it work that way? No? Okay. What's the least amount of money you could do it for if you have to do money? Maintaining a monetary and point budget is always good. We always try to shoot for the stars and get the most amount of money for the least amount of points. It's not always going to be that way. So like staying flexible and being able to maybe take a little haircut on some cent per point instead of maximizing 15 cents per point on the flight. If you can do it, great. If you can't do that yet and you're not at that level and you don't have that percentage of that number of points, take the lesser redemption if you can still take the trip, or pass up on that trip because the next time it comes around, you're going to be able to do it.
Very good. Lonnie, you and I are on team take the trip. I think that's firm. But there are times when I think even you and I would both say, hey, maybe don't take that trip.
So going back to your question, the first thing between time and money is that the old adage, time is money. So treat both of them as such. Your time is money. But yes, there are times when you shouldn't take the trip yet or right now. The first is don't go into debt. It's not worth it. If you don't got it, you don't got it. You can't have it if you don't have it. That's the way that I look at it. And so if you have a trip and it costs $7,000 and you ain't got $7,000 that you can spend and still pay your rent or your mortgage or your car or your food or for your family, you won't got it. So don't be like, I'm just going to put it on a credit card and I'll take care of it later. You can't take care of it now, so you can't take care of it later. So don't go into debt, and definitely don't do buy now, pay later. Have you seen what's happening out there with that stuff? Don't do that. Don't put it on buy now, pay later either. So how do we avoid that? Set a budget. It can be with cash or it can be with points. So like I said, if it's a $7,000 trip, we all have jobs of some way. We all make income in some way, shape, or form. However long it takes you to earn or save up that $7,000, or earn the amount of points to cover that $7,000 or the trip for itself, do that and set a budget. Even if you have 15,000 and you're like, I only want to spend 7,000, set that budget as well. So you don't just go burn off 15,000, as Matt was saying. Like, there is a difference between cent per point and getting a decent value and just getting raked over the coals in value. Don't get raked over the coals. Let's have slightly more willpower, if you will, in that regard. The way that I like to say it, how do we get to that point? I prefer to use points miles to pay for my trips versus actual cash out of pocket. Don't pay twice for a vacation. The point stack king of the point stacking right here. No, I'm going to just be out and say it. Like, don't pay twice for your vacation. Every month you have to pay for your roof. You have to pay for food or gas, utilities, electricity, all these things that you have to pay for. Use these to your advantage, because after you pay for all that and you hit burnout and you finally want to go take this trip, now you got to go pay for a vacation. That's the pay twice part. If you were to use these credit cards and these reward platforms, programs, tools, and resources like shopping portals, travel portals, dining wallets, these types of things, you can actually earn points faster for stuff you're going to spend anyway. And that way, when it's time to take that vacation, you've already paid for it. You paid for it through all your other everyday spend, and now you can use those points and miles to actually take that vacation. The next thing, plan ahead. It's okay to want an aspirational trip. It is. If you want to backpack through Europe or you want to go see the Grand Canyon, you want to go, see Tokyo Tower, whatever it is, whatever your aspirational trip is, I don't know. It's okay. Just plan for it. And if you plan for it, everything else that I mentioned will automatically fall into place. And the other thing is that if you plan for it and just take your time, say you want to go right now, but depending on your income and the way your bank account set up, I don't know. It could take you 2 years. It could take you 5 years, whatever. If you actually just plan for it, put it in that back pocket, save up, put whatever strategy you have into place, in 2 to 5 years, whenever you actually take it, will make that trip so much sweeter than going into debt or burning every single one of your points or miles. It's okay to say a trip is expensive with cash or with points or miles. I recently did it myself. Hey, my family, my wife and I wanted to go to take a trip for later this year. And we're like, yo, why are the point redemptions so high? We're going to burn like all of our points, not literally, but we're going to burn the majority of our points. Like, plan B, let's go somewhere else. It's okay to say it's expensive, but that's part of just being responsible, planning ahead, figuring it out, creating a strategy, all that other stuff. So you can make the time and the money work for you, but don't let it be the other way around. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't try to keep up with us. Between just the three of us, myself, Matt, and RJ, we are three different people, three different lives, three different incomes, and three different travel strategies, and three different travel goals. And yet, we find ways to do it. And if at any point I try to keep up with RJ, or RJ tries to keep up with Matt, or Matt tries to keep up with me, that breaks everything. So we are here to help educate and inform, not to create envy or jealousy in any way to be like, oh, I got to do this because now I'm in the game. Take your time. Take your time. If you just got started, for y'all that just got started, maybe one or two cards in, or like you finally clicked and it was like, no, I'm going to go search on YouTube for credit card travel channels or whatever. And you're like, I want to get in this game. It ain't going to happen it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take you some time. So take the time for yourself, because as I started off, your time is also money as well.
Yeah. And if you're, 5, 6, 7 subs in and you've got a good cache of points and you blow it all on a bunch of like, oh, I want to stay at the Waldorf, that's great. And if you do 4 nights at the Waldorf and then have nothing left and you don't have any other spend, like maybe you had 4 really good nights, but then you're sitting there going, oh, how do I make 500,000 points now? And once you do some of these subs, you're not getting them back. So
Yep.
it's strategic trip taking can be better than immediate gratification.
It's like the Vegas hotel rule. The first time you go to Vegas, the majority of us, there could be a couple of y'all out there, the majority of us aren't staying penthouse on the strip at all. Some of us are staying maybe slightly a block away from the strip, or the far south of the strip, or the far north of the strip, where you might have to walk a little bit. I don't want to shoot down any Vegas hotels. You might have stayed at the Link, okay? You didn't stay at Bellagio. But then a couple of Vegas trips later, you're like, oh, Bellagio's in swinging distance. You might be staying at Aria, whatever. And that's what I like to say. It's like, in most cases, we all start traveling and we're all at a Holiday Inn, a Days Inn, a Super 8 at one point in our lives. And if it weren't for staying at those damp hotels with why is the floor wet right here moments, like I just ruined my socks, how I would never love the Conrad that I love so much, or the Intercontinentals that I love so much. And so you gotta pay your dues in some way, shape, or form. You're not just gonna come out, like RJ said, start off at the Waldorf. Trust me, you'll get there. You might not have to stay at the Super 8 or at the Hojo, but you'll get there. It might just be a stay bridge. You'll get there. Trust me, just take your time and you'll get there.
Yeah, sure. Let's close this out with let's say hypothetically you decide to do a whole ecosystem switch. Your ecosystem of choice is no longer loving you the way that they previously did, or you're no longer loving them the way that you previously did, and you've decided to switch up ecosystems. What factors are you going to take most into account in changing ecosystems? And when you make the change, can you change ecosystems and still keep your partners? Now, this wasn't much of an issue for me when I adopted going after Chase cards. I had Wells Fargo cards that only earned cash back. Wells Fargo hadn't added transfer partners yet, so I could just go and add whatever cards I wanted to jump into the points of mile side of things. But there are more established folks on this panel who started with, say, American Express, or started with Chase, or started specifically with one particular partner. Lonnie, if you were to make a wholesale ecosystem switch, this question kind of geared toward you because you might be making some changes later this year or next year. What factors are going to go into it?
I won't say make an ecosystem change that would affect everything, because I would just get rid of the ecosystems and go direct, which is completely 180 against everything I brought up earlier in this episode. I know. So do not come at me in the comments. But also, later this year hasn't happened yet. So,
yeah,
fudge you. Anyway.
Dang, Lonnie.
You can't judge me on what ain't happened yet. You can't judge me on October yet.
We're not going to. We're not here to.
Anyway, but to entertain your question, I would have to switch to a Capital One or City ecosystem or something of that nature, because I already am heavily in Chase, Amex, and Bilt. So I'm not going to use those. Now, I wouldn't necessarily, I would choose an ecosystem that could. So the second part of your question was, can I keep my partners? And in most cases, airline partner, no, because United's only with Chase and Bilt. So if I were to lose, the three that I'm already in, I automatically lose United. So I would have to switch airlines, and I would probably go with Delta. And I'm not even sure if City or Capital One can get to Delta, but no matter what travel portal or ecosystem you're in, you can book basically with anyone. I would most likely change my partners to my airline to Delta, because I think that's the one that's most closely related to United, even though it goes heavily out of my way wherever I'm trying to go. I got to connect through Atlanta. Even if you're flying west, you got to connect through Atlanta.
Fly all the way around the world, land at Hartsfield Jackson, and then still go.
You know what? Everyone, go look up like Peoria, Illinois to Los Angeles on Delta, or like Bloomington, Illinois on Delta to Los Angeles, and tell me that it doesn't try to connect you through Atlanta. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You go from Central Time Zone to Eastern Time Zone, then to Western Time Zone. It kicks rocks. It literally can pound sand. Anyway, can I make the switch and keep my partners? The first thing is no. The other aspect of it is that type of switch. So the partners in which, so people have asking me before, like Capital One, how come I don't really want a Capital One card? Because from a transfer partner standpoint, I'm not gaining nothing. And then even from a card ecosystem standpoint, I'm not gaining anything that I don't already have than the ecosystems that I have. So yeah, I got to bow out on this, or bow to you on this one, Matt, because there's absolutely no way that I could make it work other than just get rid of all ecosystems and just go direct. I'm just going to keep my United card, and I'm going to get whatever hotel card works for me. As of right now, I got 3. Will I keep all 3? Maybe. We'll see. It's expensive, but maybe. We'll see. I just got to go direct. There's no way I could get rid of a card ecosystem and make a switch that could work for me. So I have to say that you won this one and drop my sword.
There, I was not expecting a surrender or anything like that. That's fair.
Bishop takes rook, man. Bishop takes rook.
All right. That's a painful exchange. RJ, your thoughts here?
I would have to pick new partners. Like I'd have to go to Chase and just go all in with IHG and United. Like, I I am the most locked in to my ecosystem of anybody who has ever been on this podcast ever.
Thank you.
Matt,
I
ever.
resonate with this. I approve this statement, Matt.
Like, no, I wouldn't. I like if I hated Amex, I would just get rid of the Platinum, the Blue Business Plus, and just rock the co-brands and suck it up. Like if you make the question bank cards only, that is more interesting to me. Because I
Sure.
think co-brands are different because yes, my co-brands say Amex on them, and yes, Amex administers them and has the app for them and whatever. But ultimately, like the quote loyalty is to Hilton or IHG or Delta, right? That is ultimately if Wells Fargo had Delta, right? In a bizarro world where the other pony got Delta, it wouldn't make me like I would just be in the Wells Fargo app. Like it's not assuming the card didn't magically the card doesn't change anything. Like all the partners, all the credits are the same. Like it doesn't change the card for me. Like it's just I switch apps when I log in. So if I put co-brands off to the side and I talk only about bank cards, it's difficult in the sense of the Platinum is a rare card in the space that it has a superpower that nobody has been able to recreate of it being incredibly cost effective for me personally and also giving me 5x on flights in a way that I can transfer to the two partners I am locked into them with. Right? So like, the reason I have the Platinum is because I am also partnered with Hilton and Delta. If I was partnered with Hilton and Delta and didn't have the Platinum, it wouldn't change Hilton and Delta. It would change like the fact I just wouldn't have those Amex points. So I would honestly probably not replace the Platinum with the CSR or the Venture X or anything else because the Platinum is there for a very specific reason. Every time I book a flight, I book it with my Platinum instead of the Delta Reserve because I want those extra 2 miles that could become 10 Hilton points. So it would be difficult for me to one-to-one replace. Now, for the Blue Business Plus, it's just going to become a 2x card. Like, I'll find a good 2x card. But I think Lonnie and I are the exact wrong people to ask this question to because
Drop the sword. Just drop
Lonnie
the
and I
sword.
know Lonnie and I know that we're locked in. Like we're under no illusion. And I'm gonna somewhat speak for you, Lenny. I don't know if I would want to be a free agent. Like, I like having my partners. I like knowing, like, I know the Hilton, IHG, and Delta ecosystems. I know how the cards work. I know my experiences when I use their services. I know all of that. I do not want to have to, like, deal with other crap. I just don't. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna check 17 airlines for this flight. I have to deal with American for a single flight. And I'm already annoyed at their website and app because it doesn't work like Delta. Like, you want me to do this regularly? No. Thank you. No. Like, I am not I am the most monogamous person on this podcast when it comes to partners. I'm not talking about y'all's personal life. I'm talking about travel partners specifically. I just know. I'm sorry. No. Like, I have a American Airlines card because I was trying to prove a point to Matt, and that is the only reason I will ever have another card from another airline company. No, touch my partners, I'm gonna get a frying pan and smack you in the forehead. No. Like, if the platinum refresh goes badly and I get rid of the platinum, I will be fine. Like, I will suffer with a bad Delta card as long as I can stay in Delta. Like, I will because I don't want to switch partners. Like, it is too fundamental to everything I have in travel. Now, if they're truly abhorrent and Delta completely screws the program, like, I'm screwed. Like, because going to United, I am not under 524 until April 1st of 2027. Do you know how long that is in travel years? Like, I would be hurting. So, to answer your question, Matt, I would have to pick different partners, and I would probably just say, and if you're listening with little children in the car, please mute me for a moment. I would probably just say fuck it. Like, if it is to that extent where I cannot keep my partners and I have to wholesale switch ecosystems at where I am right now, I would say fuck it. Take the like Apple card. Like, I for several years only used the Apple card. Only used my Apple card, and that was it. I would go back to that before I would switch partners. No, Matt. The answer is no.
Bad, Matt. Bad.
Well, now I got the title for the episode.
And also, travel years are measured in parsecs. Just pulling that one from last week. But anyway.
No, they are not.
But Matt, like, for you to answer this question, it actually has an answer. For Lonnie and I to answer this question, United or Delta would have to go out of business.
Like, my entire travel strategy started with my partners, and then I found ecosystems, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's why I would just have to get rid of the ecosystems and go back to what worked before I ever got my Chase Sapphire Reserve card, which was my first
Get the
ecosystem
Priceline card and like just go handle Priceline or something.
But it's like, switch ecosystems. Now I'll just get rid of ecosystems. I'll just go direct. We'll go straight to the source. I can't switch at this point. It's too late.
They have us by the throat at the like, they do, but we know it. That's the important thing. We know what we're about.
Yeah, going to ROJ's monogamy there, like, United could cheat on me and I would still be like, you know what? I still love you though. Like, let's make it work.
If they go to a Coldplay concert, though, there might be some problems.
Your first mistake was going to see Coldplay. Your second mistake was bringing your mistress.
All right. I got to play devil's advocate. Where do you take your mistress?
Not a Coldplay concert.
Not a place with cameras.
Not anymore.
Or cameras.
Probably a Super 8, actually.
I gotta say, this last 7 to 10 minutes has just been nice and entertaining for me. All right. Thank you so much, both of you, for that. As always, check us out at stackyourpoints.com. You can find our videos, membership, Discord. All of that will be at Stack Your Points. As always, we'd like to shout out our Diamond and new members. Our Diamond members are Rex Bleen, Rupert Pond, or Rupert Pond, Double Animal Fries, AP Keith, Mitch 528, and our new silver members as of like 15 minutes from before recording. I don't know what I'm doing, and AJB. So thank you all. If you want to shout out on the show, just join the membership. We have 3 tiers. We have silver, gold, and diamond. Think of it like Hilton. And we look forward to you joining us next week. Bye for now.